My name is Lucas Belenky. I'm an American citizen. I've lived in Nairobi now for 5 years. I came here right after I finished my environmental engineering degree at Carnegie Mellon, and I work at TopThird Ventures, a startup that works in East Africa, based out of Nairobi. My role at TopThird Ventures is I'm the CEO and founder. As the CEO, my core responsibility is to protect the value of my shareholders, but that then translates into a lot of other things. So I manage the accounts, I manage the relationship between the subsidiary in Kenya and the parent company. I handle all of the carbon credit aspect of the business business development side when it comes to signing new clients. But that's sort of more just an official title. We're a very sort of flat organization. We help each other out with whatever we can help each other out with. So I'm happy to really do anything. TopThird Ventures' business model is on the surface a bit complex, but it actually it grew out of a very organic process. And this was basically the problem that there was a large portion of the global population that needs an efficient cook stove. And then the question of how to solve this problem. And it was difficult to figure out what the solution would be because there is no single technology or single solution. You know, the cultures, especially around cooking, they're so different in so many different places. Even in Kenya alone, among the different tribes, you have so many different staple foods and styles of cooking. So we wanted to provide more of a holistic solution to promote as many technologies as possible. And one of those ways is carbon finance. Carbon finance directly supports any measure that will reduce pollution or global warming emissions. But it's traditionally been very difficult and very expensive to access. It's a cumbersome process that can take 15 months and cost up to $100,000. And so with the rights we've secured, which is to earn carbon credits for the next 28 years for any efficient cook stove in any developing country, we bring that cost down to $10,000 and the time required to 2 months. So we provide this service to these companies, but now it doesn't just stop there. Carbon finance is difficult to start and even more difficult to realize. You have to do extensive monitoring and tracking of your products and have those results audited by a third party. That's where the smartphone application comes in. We help our customers track their data and we store it for them and they can access it. And this makes the monitoring of these activities and the actual issuance of carbon credits and realizing that carbon credit revenue much easier and much cheaper. There's a lot of other entities doing this, but given the size of the market, it's very unsaturated. Other companies or NGOs are promoting stoves also with a carbon finance angle, but there's nobody else providing this as a service to small, medium, and large enterprises and coupling it with this advanced data tracking system. Then again, I don't check this on Google every day, so there might be some other people, but to my knowledge, sort of we're in a very unique niche here. In the next 5 years, you'll see if there's a demand for these credits, if it grows. At the moment, the demand is enough to support our company sort of small growth, but if the demand is realized, and so the market has gone through a couple ups and downs in the last couple of years, but if it's strengthened through these international agreements, then this is going to be a massive business. Economists will tell you that you want to solve a problem the cheapest way possible. And the environment doesn't care if you emit a ton of carbon dioxide in Europe, in South Africa, in Argentina, or in Greenland. It all goes into the same atmosphere. So then the conclusion is that if you can reduce global warming emissions in one region more cheaply than another region, why not do it there? And so carbon credits are the right to pollute. And if you can reduce more cheaply in sub-Saharan Africa by developing, let's say, a cook stove project, by manufacturing stoves and selling these to bottom of the pyramid consumers, then why not do that and use that to offset pollution from, let's say, a power facility in Germany that is already very efficient, where any marginal increase in efficiency would be very expensive. So now you're looking at sort of trading the right to pollute. And this is kind of criticized. People see it as developed countries sort of buying their way forward and to keep polluting. But if you have an absolute cap and then you trade the credits within that cap, you can set that cap at a level that is safe. And this is actually, despite the ironic opposition in the United States, this is exactly the same solution that was used to solve the acid rain problem in the eastern United States. I think this sounds like a cheap answer, but I enjoy all aspects of my work simply because it's a company that, along with my business partner Bjorn, that we have full control over. And that's so liberating that no matter what you're working on, it's yours and you're building it, and it makes any task interesting. But really what is definitely more enjoyable is the creative work. How are we going to grow this business? How are we going to design our approach to clients and stuff like that, and how are we going to add value? And also being so confident that we are adding value makes you feel really good. And meeting our clients is also great. We work with small to medium-sized companies that make and sell efficient cook stoves around Africa. So you get to travel there, you get to see the new country, experience the new culture. But these people are so passionate and so dedicated, and working with them and hearing their story is always so interesting. We just did a trip to Uganda where we actually drove the 14 hours, which was a lot of fun, and met a company there that was really inspiring. And so, to understand that you're all working towards solving this problem and there's other people, like-minded people, it's always really fun. Less enjoyable is probably, sitting in traffic, dealing with bureaucracy that can be, depending on what you're trying to do, can be quite extensive. But at the end of the day, when you're working towards this goal, it's always really fun. The biggest challenge facing TopThird Ventures is primarily, I think, satisfying the risk deemed by investors of working in this space. Given the recent terror attacks, given the violence in 2007 following the elections. And that's also one of the reasons we insulated the company slightly. So we have an operational company here in Kenya, and then a parent company in Mauritius, and all the intellectual property is in Mauritius. And that's then in case there's any kind of situation that then the intellectual property that we might be using in any other country won't be at risk. Also, finding good people, I think, is a challenge. The culture of I think we always have to make a choice when we hire somebody. We either have somebody who understands East Africa, and then though we need to make sure that we bring them sort of this more startup culture and sort of a horizontal structure, or you can bring someone from overseas that sort of is more inclined to that structure but then doesn't understand this part of the world. So you sort of have to make a trade-off there. I think when running this company, one of the mottos that I live by, and sort of a lot of, I think everybody that works for us, we either they agree with us at the beginning, or we convince them of it eventually, is that you shouldn't be afraid to make mistakes. It's not about the things you do wrong, because everybody's going to make mistakes. And if you're too afraid to make a mistake, you're just paralyzed with inaction. So what's important is how you fix your mistakes. So everybody's going to make them, but then you need to own that mistake and you need to fix it. And if you need help fixing it, you tell your colleagues that you need help. And that helps everybody learn and grow as a person. So I think the main thing is do not be afraid to take a chance and make a mistake.